Hey everybody, Agent of Doubt here, and I just want to ramble on about the behind the scenes goings on of the meetup that I took over, which is now called the Colorado YouTube Club. So, some of you who have followed me for years know that I've been part of meetups that were taken over by a new group. You know, some groups that were basically hijacked, usurped. These include, for me, the Occupy movement, the local chapter that I was a part of got taken over, and there were a lot of administrators of the Facebook page, and we all got booted by one person who grabbed control and tried to turn it into his thing. There was also the Freethinkers of Colorado Springs, where the atheist community of Colorado Springs is what the new person decided to rename it to. But basically, an old administrator who was still listed decided that he's the one who started the group, so he could give it to whoever he wanted without asking the actual board members of the Freethinkers of Colorado Springs and whatnot. And so he gave it to this new person who decided to change the name of it. So then the Freethinkers created their whole new meetup page. But that lost like 300 people who were subscribed to the old page, you know. And in terms of like local turnout, that's actually good numbers versus, the thousands of subscribers you can have on YouTube. To actually get someone to leave their comfort of their own home and show up to things, those were good numbers. And towards the time that the Freethinkers had their meetup page stolen, basically, they were having a turnout of between 30 and 50 at each meeting, and that brought them down to around 15. Both the act of taking it and the drama behind it. People didn't like the drama, or they just became part of that new group. And yeah, I didn't like that. There's been different things in my life that have been usurped. Before I was even a YouTuber, I had a very large clan on the video game EverQuest 2, where I was on the player versus player server, and my clan was called the Lords of War, and we were the biggest clan on that server, on the player versus player server. And with the way that the servers were broken down, it was the only server where you could decide to sell your character and stuff on the station exchange for Sony, and was player for player, player versus player. So you could run across somebody who was a good player on the player versus environment servers, who just bought a character to be able to play and was already at like the top levels and could already compete with you. So it was a very exciting gameplay that we had on that server. And what started to happen to my group was there were groups that wanted to focus on just raiding, and they were having their characters join my guild, my clan, and level up from like 0 to the top level, and then switch over to their clan. So I was basically the babysitting guild, the grow a large character for someone and then watch them go away to raid with some other group. And I felt like very usurped by that. I felt like we were being used. So this feeling of being used came up in the past a lot. And so when I saw this opportunity to take over a YouTube meetup that was all about, being a YouTuber in Colorado, I thought, well, I've seen these things be taken over with like hostile takeovers before. These movements be hijacked. But this is a case where this meetup, which was called the Denver YouTube Professionals, I was a member of it, and I went to a few of their meetups, and I joined it for community. And what I turned out running into was all of the meetups were basically classes that they wanted people to pay for. And of course, they had like a suggested $10 donation for every meetup that they had. And you get to the front door at this place called the Open Media Foundation on Kalamath in downtown Denver. And you get there, and just to get into the room, you run into somebody who's got the bucket right there, and they're wanting to have you sign in and pay your $10. So it wasn't so much a suggested donation as it was enforced. In order to get in, you had to give the $10. You had to, there was like a door person making sure that everyone put in their $10. So it wasn't so much a donation as I feel donations should go. You should just leave the bucket out, and if people like it, they should put their money in. If not, if they can't afford it and you're giving away something that actually is free plus suggested donation, they should just get the free thing and enjoy it, and maybe come back the next time and give you $10 for whatever else it is. Some people just can't afford to do things, and especially on YouTube, where the bar to entry is like a $10 webcam, right? So I went to a few of these, and they were the Open Media Foundation, I feel, created this meetup club in order to promote their own building. Like that $10 donation, maybe it was going towards the fees of the meetup group, but probably also it was going towards the building, the Open Media Foundation itself. So I felt like I basically was bait and switched into paying for a class that I didn't really need. A lot of the information that was put out by the previous regime that controlled the Denver YouTube Professionals meetup, this is information you can get from YouTubers like Daryl Hughes, YouTubers like Brian G. Johnson, who's a member of the Open Media Foundation. They're giving classes for stuff that he already makes YouTube videos about, and he lives in Colorado Springs. And so I felt like this is stuff that we don't have to all be here together to get a class for and have to pay for it. We could actually be networking with each other about collaborating on our own projects, our own videos. So that was the feeling that I got. And I felt like maybe out of the more than 300 people who are a member of this group, maybe other people joined and wanted the same thing that I did and just also got bait and switched, or were hoping to get community on the side of whatever classes they were running. Maybe you'll run into somebody that you like, and maybe you can work with them. So I decided, okay, the organizer for this group, after 3 years, decided to call it quits, and everybody got this email. Everybody got this email that said, this meetup group is going to die unless somebody takes it over and starts paying the meetup fees for it. So I decided to give it a shot, and I posted a couple of things that people could go to. And this is where the title of this video comes in. So I'm posting things that I would already be doing, right? I posted filming the solar eclipse on August 21st. I posted filming the Rally for Recovery on September 16th, which it's activism, but it's pretty low-key, but you'd still see people with signs and stuff. And it's not something that you would expect violence at. It's more about helping people with addiction, right? And that's going to be downtown in the Civic Center Park. I figured that everybody could get there. I posted the murder trial for the Skeptic Feminist, which that would take someone actually going all the way out to Grand Junction, and most of the members, they were located around Denver. I'm trying to get away from the Denver part when I turned it into the Colorado YouTube Club, because I figure it'd be exciting to travel around to nearby places that aren't exactly Denver, you know. So I posted that, and I expected not much people wanting to join in on that one because it does cost money to drive 4 hours away to go see a little court drama, right? Plus, it's a little niche. It's the genre of YouTuber that he was. You know, people might not be interested in it. Then I posted for November 5th, filming the Million Man March. Or, sorry, the Million Mask March. Remember the 5th of November. It's like an anonymous thing where they all put on their Guy Fawkes masks and they all go down to the Capitol with signs, and, it's something that maybe somebody also would want to film with me, right? It's down at the state capitol, very easy access to it, bus lines and transit there, people live around it, whatever. So, for all of those 4 things that I posted, exactly 0 people were interested. These are things that I'm interested in that I'll be doing myself. But 0 people were interested in those events. So, I decided, you know what? The best part of different meetups that I've been a part of, and the best meetup that I was a part of was the Pikes Peak Skeptic Society. The best part of them was either potlucks or like breakfast at like Panera or a coffee shop or a donut shop. Those were the places where people networked and talked about things freely with no set agenda. So I decided to post a simple breakfast meetup. And earlier this week, there were like 4 people who wanted to go. And I was like, yay, finally, some people want to go to this thing. Out of the 300 people over 3 years that tried going to these classes that were being run by the Denver YouTube professionals, there's 5 people who just want to chat about YouTube, and maybe learn something that way. Then the night before, I checked the meetup again, and there's 12 people that want to go. Ended up like 13 people signed up, right? So I'm like, cool. We picked a place to eat that was able to accommodate that big of a crowd. McCoy's has like an open table setup where they can put tables together. And if you ever go to McCoy's, I do recommend the chorizo skillet or the machaca skillet. Either one of those. But when I got there, it was a very nice meetup. There was a big mix of different YouTubers, but because of the way YouTube is slanted towards the skeptic community and whatnot, there were 4 or 5 of us that were from that background, And so I tried to, in the middle of breakfast with everyone, impress upon them that it doesn't matter if you're like a Democrat or a Republican, you're still welcome here if you're a YouTuber. We're doing the secular thing where like everyone's welcome at the table, and I gave different examples. And then there was one particular person who had a background in naturopathic remedies. And so I said that's okay if I'm a skeptic and you're a proponent of natural home remedies, then I'd be willing to be on a hang out with you, to learn something or be someone to bounce ideas off of. There was a travel vlogger who might want to hang out with my girlfriend Misty, who was also there. Like whatever you guys want to do, there's probably somebody here who also wants to collaborate with you, and that's a great thing, And as far as the people who actually signed the sign-up sheet and gave me their YouTube channel, I can tell you one was Circul Patrat. That's her channel name. She's Romanian, and when she signed up for the meetup, she was one of the first people to sign up. I actually thought that she was in Romania and just signing up for different meetup groups to get people to look at her YouTube channel and maybe subscribe. Because I've seen people use tactics like that in order to get people to subscribe to their channel or just check out their channel. They'll do all sorts of weird things. So when she actually showed up and spoke English, I was like, whoa. She speaks English and she's here, and I totally discounted her as somebody from a foreign country. So that was fun. A YouTuber bigger than me showed up to it. That's Chris Shelton. He's actually in the skeptic community, and he has a channel with like 13,000 subscribers on it, and he talks about leaving the Church of Scientology and issues related to that. And so he was sitting right next to me, and I didn't know his channel before then, but I know it now, and links in the description box to all these channels that I'm talking about. So yeah, there was a guy who does nothing but photographing teeth, like dental photography, and his channel is about teaching dentists how to photograph teeth and doing like camera reviews and camera setups and how-tos about photographing teeth. And it's called Dental Photography Made Easy. And then there was a guy that led us into kind of a product preview of something that he's working on. So he's got this channel called Options Multimedia, but what he's working on, it's basically a way to be more interactive with videos, and he's done websites for people where he's done like mouse overs where the video will just pop up over certain things. And one in particular, he did one for a ski company, in the Vale area, where there's a map of the mountain ranges and the ski slopes, and then if you mouse over where the ski slope is, there is a real-time video feed that will pop up showing you the ski slope as it is right now. So he's making interactive things for the internet, and just wanted to have people check out his stuff, So yeah, there was a good mix, and people turned out. And so I asked people where they wanted to eat next, and someone said Lucille's, which I've got no problem with. I've eaten there before. And so next month we're going to do one at Lucille's. And I posted that, and although all the other things that I've posted still have like 0 people interested, already that one has like 5 people wanting to go to it. And that's like a month away, So, yeah, I think that this breakfast thing, just simply coming to breakfast, is probably the most popular thing that people are going to want to do. And I'll just keep meeting people, in the less formal way, and not really have this like I get when people go to like VidCon or all the conventions that I used to go to for the skeptic community. People are like, oh, this is this huge event, you're going to meet all these people. I prefer meeting people in their own settings, and actually having no time limit to it, to where like if someone doesn't show up this month to a breakfast, they can come to the next month. If we want to continue this conversation, I can say, hey, give me your number, and we'll meet up somewhere else and talk. Maybe we'll go to a coffee shop outside the library or something. I much prefer actually meeting people rather than the atmosphere of conventions, Uh, so yeah, I think this is going to work. I'll keep this meetup group going and just I'm very curious to see who will keep showing up over time, because that's the greatest part of what was the greatest meetup that I've been a part of before, which was the Pikes Peak Skeptic Society. The greatest part was the tight knit group that showed up time after time to the uh, the breakfasts, because we're still friends. You know, um, we still have this one back channel uh, phone texting group that we're all a part of. You know, this, like, you send one text and like 10 people get it group, and yeah, they're the kind of people where if you were, say, to have a tire blowout and you're stuck on the side of the road and you forgot your tire jack, you could just text to this group and one of those people would show up with a tire jack. You know? Like real friends. The kind that will show up when you're in your time of need selflessly. I would show up with a tire jack, and I would change the tire for them. You know, that kind of group. That's what I'd like to foster. Where when there's actually people helping each other out and actually becoming friends, and not just uh, trying to sell products to people with Meetup as the vehicle. You know, that's what I'm going to get away from. So there'll never be any Meetup fees charged for the breakfasts. It's just going to be separate tickets. Um, Pay for what you order. You know, simple as that. I'm not trying to make money off of anyone. So yeah, I guess next month I'll give another review of the breakfast and tell you guys how all that went. One of my favorite moments was right after the breakfast. I pulled Paul Hoff off the side, and I uh, filmed a little 10-second thing with him, and I sent it to the Quiet Atheist on Twitter, because Paul has been in Google Hangouts with us many times, and just the fact that I could meet him in person, and he's been a friend of the Quiet Atheists for so long, I just felt like making the Quiet Atheist a little bit jealous with that. So that was great. Um, all in all, great experience, and hope to have more in the future.